Alright everybody, welcome back to Conquer and Commander. Today we're going to be talking about my Daxos of Meletis deck. For the complete deck list, go to puremtgo.com, look up my article series Conquer and Commander. You'll see it printed up nicely and neatly just like this, all laid out for you. And I'll also have some information with regard to the videos and a little more insight as to where I was going with the deck and how the games played out. Let's just take a quick look at Daxos here. Daxos has a crap ton of text. He's a 3-mana 2/2. And the first line is that he can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. Now, initially looking at this, you could think, oh, wow, well, I play Commander. Everybody plays huge creatures. He should be able to get past everything. This is not true. People play with tokens a lot. Most of the time those guys aren't real big. People also play with little guys like Vampire Nighthawk and Oracle Moldiah and other stuff. Doran players are problems for him. Anything with like low power, high toughness. So you can't guarantee that he's going to get through very easily. But let's take a look at the second chunk. Basically, when he deals combat damage, you exile the top card of a player's library, and you gain life equal to that card's converted mana cost, and then you can cast the card. It doesn't matter what mana the card is, because you can use any mana to cast it. In my initial version of this deck, what I wanted to do was just use a ton of like mana excelled artifacts. And I figured I would just be casting stuff off my opponent's libraries, and I wouldn't really need to worry about card draw or anything like that. What I quickly found out, however, is that about half the time that I hit, I ended up hitting land. And land does nothing for you. You don't gain life, you can't play it, you can't do anything with it. About another quarter of the time, the cards that you pull are useless. It can be counter spells, it can be artifact removal when you don't have artifacts out. It can be just a wide variety of crap. And I'd say maybe like 20% of the time, like I could actually, maybe even less than 20% of the time, it was actually a card that I was interested in casting. The best card I pulled in the numerous games I played with Daxos was a Psychosis Crawler. And that's in one of the videos. So I also got, what else did I get? I got a Gilded Lotus and a Rakdos Charm, and that's about it in terms of memorable cards that I pulled from hitting with Daxos. So, you know, I thought he was going to be better than he is. He's not. He's just not that good. He's not. So what I ended up having to do was, instead of relying entirely upon Daxos, I wanted to suit him up with a bunch of equipment and kind of pound from there. So let's just go ahead and start taking a look at the deck now. First up, we have our card draw suite. This is greatly improved since I started it, when I got rid of a lot of my mana artifacts. But there's a decent amount of swords in here, with Sword of Fire and Ice to help draw cards. Jace Beleren to draw. Augury Adept is another life gain kind of card who can draw you a card when she hits with combat damage. And because of that, I kind of added a little bit of a life gain component to the deck. As you'll see, I'm also running Drogskull Reaver as well. When you gain life, you draw a card. So there's a little bit of life gain in this deck. Tandem Lookout at least guarantees that you draw a card if he's soulbound with Daxos, and Daxos flips nothing interesting. Luzun, good with a sword. Horsemanship means he's rarely blocked. Slithermuse, there are times when you can dump your hand, and Slithermuse is good at filling it back up. Consecrated Sphinx, obviously good. Time Spiral is good at filling up your hand, and Graveyard Hate. Azure Mage, it's a little expensive to draw with her, but she can also carry a sword, and she comes out quick, so that's not bad. And like I said, the Reaver. One of the suggestions that I got, and one of the ways I've seen Daxos used, is to use a lot of stuff that can take a look at the top of libraries, like Lantern of Insight. I think I even picked one up. Let's see if I can look it up here for you. The problem with some of these cards is that they just seem not very good, you know? Like, here we are, Lantern of Insight. Players play with the top card of their libraries revealed, and then you can make somebody shuffle. It's a 1-mana artifact. It just doesn't do anything by itself. There's also Vanishment, which put target non-land permanent on top of its owner's library. That's actually good, but the problem is it also costs 5 mana if you don't miracle into it. So there's a lot of restrictions on some of these cards. I did, however, stick with 4 cards that did this sort of thing. One was Memory Lapse. It's pretty much a soft counter, but ended up helping me out a lot. Azorius Charm is another one where you can put an attacking or blocking creature on top of its owner's library. Hinder, of course, you can counter a spell and put it on top of the library, or bottom if you want. And then Jace the Mind Sculptor with the Fate Sealing ability, you know, you can Fate Seal before you attack, and he's good at doing that. So, you know, those are the 4 cards on that theme that I stuck with. One of the other issues, though, is that people like to play cards like Sensu's Divining Top and Crystal Shard, or not Crystal Shard, Crystal Ball. And those can mess with your ability to actually get stuff off the top of people's library as well. I do have a limited amount of recursion, mainly because I've got plenty of artifacts in here, so Sun Titan, Buried Rune, and Academy Ruins all work well. There's some destruction in here. Tectonic Edge and Strip Mine are in there for Maze of Ith and Mystifying Maze, both. Revoke Existence, mainly because gods are running around now. Azorius Guildmage is good for tapping down blockers and countering activated ability. Another card that's good at dealing with blockers, 2 others, are Gideon Jura, which makes people attack, and Bident of Thassa, which again can make people attack as well. Most of the time they're going to attack you, but at least they'll clear the way for Daxos to get through and the rest of your team. On top of that, we've got Path to Exile and Swords of Plowshares, Return to Dust, Wrath of God, Supreme Verdict, Austere Command, and then Gideon and Bident. Like I said, I've got a minor life gain theme in here, aside from the cards I've already covered. One of which is Archangel of Thune, which is good at pumping your dudes. Batterskull is another life linker. Cradle of Vitality actually helps out a decent amount with the life gain in here. Steel of the Godhead almost always only goes on Daxos. I did once put it on my Augury Adept. And then Sword of Light and Shadow, Sword of War and Peace, and True Conviction are all other ways to gain life in here. And you know, double striking is another way. I'm missing. There should be a Fire Shrieker in this deck. There it is. Okay, Fire Shrieker. Alright, so double striking is another good way to make sure that you pull something decent with Daxos, because he hits twice, and therefore he's going to be able to give you that much better chance of pulling something. This is all my mana help. There's still a decent amount of mana rocks in here. Mana Crypt, Gilded Lotus, Solemn Simulacrum, Thran Dynamos. Sword of Feast and Famine I consider sort of mana help, because you get to untap everything once you hit with it. Palladium Myrrh, Coalition Relic, Soul Ring, Mana Vault, Azorius Signet, Gold Myrrh, Grim Monolith, Talisman of Progress, Silver Myrrh, Gilded Lotus. I went with the Myrrh because, again, they're good at holding swords if you need it. You know, bodies that provide mana aren't a bad thing. Right here we kind of have like a catch-all. I've actually got 2 different catch-all piles here. That's kind of dumb. Fire Shrieker is a double striker, so is a Johnny Caller the Pride, another way to give double strike, and Silverblade Paladin, that's another double striker as well. Fata Adel is good at searching stuff up and getting it from your opponent. I'll be honest, most of the time I wished Daxos was actually Fata Adel. It just meant that I was going to be able to get something, and the evasion that Island Walk provides is better than the evasion that Daxos has. Phyrexian Metamorph was good at copying anything that I needed, including swords. These are my tutors. Enlightened Tutor and Mystical Tutor are, pretty par for the course, as is Stoneforge Mystic and Stonehewer Giant. Tezzeret was able to get the artifact lands that I put in, as well as swords if necessary, and was able to untap any of the mana-producing artifacts that I have. And I did get him to ultimate once when I had a bunch of artifacts out there, so that was good. Finally, we've got Elspeth, who can pump and make your Daxos evasive and provide blockers. Indomitable Archangel and Leonin Abunis are good at protecting your artifacts. Rootwilder Thief, I thought would be interesting to play with, and people did not like this card one bit. Especially if it had double strike. The people really did not like having their decks looked at or messed with or anything like that. And so it managed to get a lot of hate as well. So Mana Drain, of course, is a good counterspell. Lightning Greaves and Hall of the Bandit Lord give haste. And then Medomai the Ageless. I hate the art on this card almost as much as I hate Daxos' art. But this card is extremely good for any sort of combat-based deck that has Azorius colors. Let's look at Daxos' art again, just to show you how bad it is. He's just like, he's a dude. He's like a random street guy that you'd see on the corner. He's not anything impressive or legendary or anything. Like, if he was wearing like Studley armor or something like that Battlewise Hippolyte guy, or one of the heroic dudes, any of those heroic dudes. I'm not even sure I picked up any heroic dudes. Phalanx Leader could have been that guy. Like, that guy looks cool, Instead, it's freaking Daxos. God, I hate his picture. It's awful, 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 awful. So, getting back to the point of the deck, one of the other problems that Daxos has is that a lot of times, like, he prevents you from actually casting the stuff that you want to cast in your hand, because you're always worried about, what if I hit with Daxos and there's something better on the top of my opponent's library? So, there's always that like weird tension between, well, do I cast now? Do I cast later? When's it better? Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't work out all that great. The deck, I'll be honest, works out well, but it would work out probably better if it was a Medomai deck, honestly, because you'll be getting extra turns and stuff like that. Any sort of like blue-green legendary creature that was somewhat aggressive would be good. But Daxos, Daxos was okay. He wasn't as horrible as I make him out to be, but he still wasn't as good as I thought he was going to be. Looking at the stats here, the mana curve is a nice little curve like this. The average CMC is 3.30. It's more white than blue. When I first made this deck and had a lot more mana rocks, the average CMC was down below 3. It was like 2.98 or something like that. But it went up because I included a bunch of stuff to draw cards and some other things. But anyways, the deck was fun to play, even though I was always frustrated with Daxos. Like, you'll see in the videos just how many times I hit land when I hit with Daxos, and it's supremely frustrating. But, this is about as good a deck, about as good as I could make the deck. You could, of course, make it like a hardcore control deck or a much more controlling deck, but I decided to go a little more aggressive. I mean, there is some control elements, and there are control elements in the deck, but it's mainly ramp, swords, and double striker. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the deck. Take a look at the videos and tell me what you guys think. Alright, thanks.